Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and I'm bringing you Battletech Alpha Strike. This is the Draconis Combine Local Defense Force versus the local pirates. The Draconis Combine is guarding this resource production factory, and the pirates want what's in it. So this is turn 4. Pirates won the initiative, so that means that the local defense forces had to move first. And so this is the result. The movement's been completed, so kind of basically everybody's kind of meeting in the middle, you know, like a lot of engagements happen that way because, you know, a lot of these vehicles that we're using are short range. Short range is from 0 to 3 hexes, so your chances of hitting are better at shorter range. So yeah, we're starting to meet in this little valley right here with the we got cliffs on or bluffs on this side and bluffs on the, I mean, I guess you could say that's north. I really didn't declare any kind of directions or anything like that, but we'll say the top of the map is north. Just makes it easier. Doesn't really matter. It's not important to the game, but so we got cliffs on the north and we got cliffs on the south, and then there's a valley that goes right through the center basically. A little bit of admin. I think, which one was it? It was one of, I think it was this J. Edgar. During the last round of combat, they took a motive hit, and I rolled on the wrong critical hit chart and ended up rolling, and it showed that it took a weapon hit, so -1 damage to the weapons. Well, it was a motive hit, so how did the weapons get hit? So I had to find the motive chart. So basically these guys have -2 movement value, and their target movement modifier is now a 2 instead of a 3. So if they move, they're easier to hit, right? Because their motive system is damaged. They're not able to do any kind of fast maneuvers or evasive maneuvers or anything like that. So they can still shoot, but now they are a little bit slower. And remember, I'm gonna have to modify these cards, but when you are playing on a hex map, you have the movement value. So they have a movement value of 6, which is now -2, so they have a movement value of 4. So that is tank number 1. I did get some new tokens in, so I've replaced some of the tokens. These tokens are, so for vehicles, I'm going to use the little pill shape, which if you look at a traditional NATO symbol for armor, it's a square with an oval in the middle of it. So vehicles will be the pills, and then I got some that have numbers etched on them. So now I don't have to draw on them, so at least on the pills. And then I also got some for, I got red and blue. I'll probably eventually at some point get more, but I'm trying to keep like the Draconis Combine. Normally using NATO military symbol conventions, the good guys are usually considered blue or the blue force, and then the OP4, the bad guys, are usually depicted as red on NATO military maps. Draconis Combine, in this particular case, I assign them to be the good guys because they're being attacked, right? But Draconis Combine is also, their colors in the Battletech universe are red. So I'm trying to use red and colors that are close to red, orange, yellow, those things. And then of course the pirates, I'm using the blue and the grays and stuff like that. So anyway, movement has been completed. I also did, we'll go over here real quick. So these were I reached into my bag of, hey, where is a new pirate infantry going to pop up, right? And you kind of got to think, right, this is the pirates are used to working in these areas, so they know all the hideouts, and they can move more stealthily because, you know, bad guys kind of tend to do that kind of thing, right? They hide in shadows. So the first cube that I drew last turn was green, and that is this guy here. He actually spawned. Can you see it? He spawned right here. This turn I drew a blue cube out of the bag. So blue placements or blue spawn points are here and here, or dark blue. So I spawned a mountain infantry here. He climbed up the hill. Normally infantry can't, they can only increase by 1 level with their movement, but mountain infantry are the exception. They can actually climb level 2, or a terrain that's a difference of 2 levels from them. So they were able to get to the top. Of course, these guys are still kind of unaware. These guys move forward. Now they're going to try an ambush attack. Ooh, I did not write an attack there. So let's see. Mountain infantry. Their skill is 4, so that's going to be a 4, probably a 5. 5 to roll. All right. So arrows have been drawn. Draconis Combine is going to attack first, but keep in mind all attacking is simultaneous. But I don't want to overcrowd the map with too much stuff. I have also tried to reduce a little bit of the clutter with the cubes and all that, so I did happen to have enough dice. So if you look. Let me get my sheet here. So if you look here, to mark movement, right? You mark somebody that did not move with black, somebody that moved normal movement with white. If they jumped, then they have red, and if they sprinted, they have yellow. So I was using cubes and dice. Now I have enough dice. So white dice represent movement, black dice represent standstill, and if I ran out of black, then I used the gray cube. Nobody sprinted, and then these are jump jet infantry, so they did jump, so they're marked with red. So depending on what kind of movement you use dictates or also determines what kind of modifiers you have. So if they jumped, you have a +2 to attack, but your target movement modifier is your TMM is that +1. So you're a little bit harder to hit, right, because you're jumping around, but it's also harder for you to hit because you're jumping around. So that's what that does, and that's what the numbers represent. But we will go ahead. The Locust moved. He was behind this tank. He's kind of moved this way because these infantry all dismounted, right? Pirates dismounted their infantry that were on their trucks, their Mad Max trucks. But wasn't nearly as much movement. There's forces are starting to get close enough to where they're like, okay, we're just gonna do a stand-up fight at this point in time. But we'll go ahead and start resolving stuff. So Locust will fire at this tank. They need a 6 or better. Let me get the right dice. Doesn't really matter. All the dice are the same, but. All right, so we need a 6 or better to hit that tank. And we got an 11, so that's a hit. That is tank number 4. I definitely like those tokens with the numbers on them, so it makes it a little bit easier. Locust does 1 damage at medium range, because that is a medium range attack. Let's see. All the armor is gone. So the next hit will start going into the structure, and structure hits are automatic criticals no matter what. We also have to roll for a motive hit, so that is a 4. That's a miss. You have to roll a 9 or higher to get a motive hit. And then there's another chart, which I would actually have to look up, so I'm kind of glad I didn't get the motive hit. So that J. Edgar's, he's hurting a little bit. Things are going to start getting progressively worse for him now, as long as he keeps getting hit. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let's see. So we'll go ahead and move over here a little bit. So can we see him? Yep. So that's the behemoth. That's our big tank, the Draconis. He's the heavy hitter of this entire game. He's going to fire at that light tank, and I think he needs a 7. So his pilot skill or his gunnery skill, whatever, he's a 5. He didn't move, so that is a -1 for a 4, plus the tank's target movement modifier of 3, so that makes a 7 at medium range. So it's at medium range, that behemoth packs a punch of 7 damage. So that guy, if he hits him, he's probably going to be dead. And that is a 6. So he got super lucky because I think that guy would have been... Yeah, they only have 2 armor and 2 structure. So he would have been dead had it been hit. It's always... One thing I always notice, right, is like, oh, here's the big tank. These are the big guns, man. This guy, he'll wreak serious havoc on the battlefield. But then those big guys always miss for whatever reason. All the glorious stuff never happens when you really want it to. But that's just the way things go sometimes. So this infantry will attack. Because they jumped, it's definitely harder for them to hit. So let's make sure I did that right. So jump infantry has a +2 to the attack mod. So they have a skill of 4. +2 is 6. We are short range for 7 plus the target movement modifier of 3 equals a 10. So I did add that all up right. So we have 10 or better to hit them. And that's an 8. Miss. This tank might actually survive all that. There was a lot of stuff coming at him that time. So we'll go ahead and do that. This is the infantry transport that was carrying all this battle armor. He's going to go ahead and fire. He needs a 6. And of course he missed. I mean, what's the average number you roll on 2 6-sided dice? A 7, and of course we missed. Looks like the local defense forces need a little bit of target practice. This infantry is going to go ahead and fire at that. I believe those are scimitars. Nope, those are scorpions. So we need a 4. All right, everybody. Pirates have decided what they want to do. And we'll go ahead and get to it. So we're going to attack that locust up there. That locust is going to be a pain in the butt. Just because it's really fast and it can move around a lot. So he is definitely going to be a thorn in the side. Need a 10 to hit him. And look at that. We actually got it. That's pretty lucky there. So that's a point of damage to the locust. And he's still got quite a bit left, so it's going to be a while before we can get him. So there's 1 damage. All right, but that might make the locust back up a little bit, right? Like once he starts taking damage, they're kind of fragile. At least, well, in classic BattleTech, locusts are really, really fragile. And this, it seems to not quite be as fragile. So, but yeah, in classic BattleTech, they're very, very fragile. So that is motorized infantry. They dismounted all the infantry dismounted off their trucks. So he's going to fire up at that raid and battle armor. Got a 9. That's an 8. That is a miss. Okay. So that J. Edgar's going to fire up there. Need a 9. And that snake eyes, I don't know. I don't know if there are critical misses in this game or not. I might have to look that up. I'll do that later. Don't remember. Let me look that up real quick. No critical failures in BattleTech Alpha Strike. So no big deal there. All right, so this destroyed tank, remember, simultaneous combat, he does get to fire back. He needs a 6 to hit that raid end battle armor. And he got an 8, so that is a hit. Let's see here. The Scorpion does 1 damage at short range. Raid end battle armor. Looks like they have a total of 3 hits, right? They have 1 armor, and then they have 2 structure. So we'll go ahead and mark off 1, and then you can see I have another squad here, and another squad here, and another squad here. So this is, we'll put a 1 on that cube to represent first squad. So first squad is taking a hit. I have also, or I'm in the process of ordering some Litco tokens with NATO symbols on them. They're a special order. But so they'll basically be squares. Let me see if I have something that looks similar. So this is going to be a little hard to see because it's clear, but they're going to be 1-inch squares, and they're going to have NATO symbols on them. I've ordered the NATO symbol for infantry, or not quite yet. I got a place order, but I want the NATO symbol for infantry, the NATO symbol for armor, and the NATO symbol for mechanized infantry. And I'm going to get a bunch of those in different colors. So those will be ordered shortly, but they'll basically be on these squares. And that way I want to use as many cubes and stuff too. Although, I mean, I don't have an issue with the cubes, but you know, whatever. It's a little bit more visually appealing. If I'm not going to spend the money on miniatures, I can spend the money on tokens. Tokens are a heck of a lot cheaper. All right. So anyway, back to the game. So that's a scorpion. He will fire at that scimitar. Need a 10 or better. Man, these pirates are rolling good this turn, which is unusual. Well, not unusual, but it is to roll that high, considering that the Draconis guys couldn't roll that well. So that is going to be, that's tank number 2. They will take 1 point. Also need to roll a motive hit. So there's that. And that's an 11, so that is a motive hit. Let's just see what level. And 11 is 50% move and 50% target movement modifier. So basically everything just got halved. All right, so I believe on here, so that's half move, 1 pip, and then the target movement modifier is a 4. It is now. Oh, that's terrible. That's a 2. All right. All right. Well, everybody decided to shoot at him, so we'll go ahead and roll again. So we need an 8. That's an 11, so that is also a hit. Let's see. The J. Edgar does 1 damage. So we'll go ahead and do that. Well, come on. There we go. Now you can see. Let's see if we get a motive hit. That is a miss. And then that infantry squad, the motorized infantry, they do 1 damage. So they need a 10 or better. Man, would you look at that? That's crazy. So there's another point of damage. Come on, there we go. So let's see if we get a motive hit. That's a 10. That is also a motive hit. And maybe I just need to keep this chart out, because I have to keep flipping back to the book to get to that chart. 10. A 10 is -2 move, -1 target movement modifier. In fact, let's do, let me tab this page here. There we go. Page has been tabbed, so that's -2. Didn't we? That's Scimitar 2. Oh, that was a J. Edgar that took the, or a Scorpion that took the, no? I'm getting confused here. Who took the half movement modifier? I don't know. Did that, I think it was this guy, wasn't it? Didn't he take a... I'm looking at all my cards, and I thought I had a guy that had a half movement modifier, which I think was this guy. Because then you had the -2, you had the half, I think it was this guy. All right, so your movement was halved to 10, and actually it's a 5 movement. And now you just took another motive hit. Man, this dry erase is not... So now you have a movement of... Yeah, this dry erase marker is not working really well. Alright, so that scimitar now has a movement of 3. So this normally halved because we converted to hex movement, right? So the movement is 10 on hexes. Half movement takes you down to 5. And then a -2 movement takes you down to 3. Oh, and the target movement modifier is now a 1. Alright. So that scimitar is taking a beating right there. Alright, and then the only thing I have left is I have over here. Can I see that? Yep. So these guys are going to do the ambush. So they need a 5 or better. 6. That was almost a bad roll. They will do 1 damage. So let's see. That is the striker light tank. Oh, I have to put numbers on these guys. So this will be striker number 1. Alright, that's striker number 1. You will take 1 point of damage. Let's see if we get a motive hit. That's an 8. I don't know, an 8 has got to roll a 9 or better, so that is not a critical hit. And you know what? Let's, because it's an ambush, they weren't expecting it, let's do 1 more extra point of damage. How's that sound? How's that sound for making up rules on the fly? So that's it. That is the end of turn 4. I'll go ahead and clean this map up a little bit. This guy, of course, is now dead. So the pirates have taken the first actual casualty. Although some of the local defense forces are starting to get beat up. This scimitar's taken some hits. Both of these have taken some hits. And I think that's it. The Locust took a small hit, no big deal. It's still kind of in the fight. But anyway, so that's it. That is the end of turn 4. And we'll see what happens from here on out. Thanks for watching. So there we go. That's a hit. Raiden battle armor, do 2 at short range. So that is Scorpion tank number 1. We're going to do 2 damage. Let's see here. They've already taken 1 damage, so there is... that is number 1. So that one was already filled in. I'm just kind of filling it in a little bit more. So that's 1 hit, 2 hits. So we will do a critical hit, and we will also do a motive hit. So we'll go ahead and do the motive hit. That is a 10. I need to... look at the motive. I need to find the motive hit table real quick. Alright, motive system damage. Let's go ahead and roll. I rolled a 7. Or actually, hold on, wait a minute. Was that? I don't remember. So I got all sidetracked. I think the 10 was the critical hit. So that is a -2 move and a -1 to the target movement modifier. So we'll go ahead and fill that dot in for -2 to movement, and then target movement modifier was a 0, or was a 1, now it's a 0. So they have become they're a little bit easier of a target to hit. And then we also roll for a critical hit, normal critical hit. Rolled a 4, which is the vehicle is stunned, which in the little footnote says stunned vehicles are treated as immobile. Okay, I might have to look that up just to see if the stunned effect is a temporary effect or permanent, but I can always do that later. Alright, so that was the infantry. They're done. So I got the 2 missiles. That's indirect fire from my striker tanks, which are over to the west. They're providing that indirect missile fire. The spotter is that infantry right there, so he's spotting. He can see that tank good, so we need 9 or better twice. That is a 10. Oh, you can't see that. It's off camera, but there you go. And that is also a 10. So 2 hits. That indirect fire does 1 point of damage each. Let me see. That is Scorpion tank number 1. 2 points of damage is enough to destroy this tank. So he is dead. We'll go ahead. Now remember, he does get to fire back, so we'll go ahead and flaming wreckage. Boom, got him. All right, who do we have left? Let's look. We've got these guys here. So we have these 2. These are scimitars, and they're going to fire at that J. Edgar. And it looks like we need 6s or better. These guys do, I think, 3 damage each at short range. All right, 3 damage each, so we need 6s or better. It's a 7 and a miss. So I guess the first roll will go from left to right. So because it does matter in this particular case. So tank number 1 is the one that had a weapon damage on it. So he will do, instead of 3 damage, only 2 damage. So tank number 2, which is the tank that was destroyed. I think it was. All right. So 2 damage to tank number 2. Alright, so we'll fill in those 2 circles. So we're down to structure now. So any hit after this will be a structure hit. Let's see if we got a motive hit. Oh. Alright, no motive hit on that guy. So J. Edgar got lucky. I think that's it. That is it for the local defense forces. Now we will move on to, and I will take a couple minutes here. I'll be back and figure out who's going to shoot on the side of the pirates.